Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is SCC, and tonight we're going to be looking at some trade plans for round 8. So I'm not really sure where this video is going to go because since I last looked at the team in the review, I'm no better knowing at what to trade into my team. I've got no clearer thought towards it. I just know that defender's probably not where I'm going to go. So we might look through a few players. We might talk about some news as well, with some debuts. Well, one at least. Let's try and figure out where the value's at, because that's the hard part now. Figuring out where the value's at. So looking into the team, we'll come in, and this is where we left it last video. So we've got the new updated looking Supercoach, which I don't really rate, but anyway, sure they know better than me. Just weird change, you know. I'll close all these things on my computer. All right, so we have some decisions to make this round, and I think it's going to be quite another big round to get the trades right, because last week we did well. We got Dawson, but we also didn't field some rookies we could have, and we probably missed out on some points, to be honest. So this round, what we're going to do is we're still going to be aggressive, because that's going to be what's catching us rank. We've already caught up 11,000 last week, and we want to keep pushing that to get hopefully into the top 10,000 by the end of the year. Hopefully close to where I made it in my record year. But, you know, it would just be good to be up there. It's been a good climb back because, you know, was at 60,000 in round 2, now back up to 23k, which isn't easy. You need to do a lot of things right, I guess. And I guess that's where being aggressive with trades helps, because you can get, you know, ahead with players on field. And that's what we're trying to aim to do. So, you know, if I had Elliot Yeo, though, could be a lot better. Could be another 130 points up, and that's probably close to 10k now. And with a really good midfielder with a lot of money on his head, that's in defense. But anyway, from here, we need to figure it out, because at the moment I'm absolutely stuck. So if you watch the review, I think I was looking at doing something like this. So it's Meek, Power, and Williams. And I believe it might have been this. It could have been Cadman. This is probably where I've lent to more. Now, the ins would be Sweet as the rock. Then we would move McKirch up to defense to loop with Brown. And then we would bring in, push this guy down to the mid. Oh, actually, we can keep Lazaro there. And we'd bring in Fyfe. Now, the reason I'm thinking Fyfe is, one, this isn't a dangerous pick anymore. It was previously a bit more risky, but at the start, I would say it was at the start of the season, considering last year he'd been priced around the same and had struggled. But now we've seen the form, and a lot of the community are also on him. Can we see how many, or have they moved it? It's here, isn't it? So 1,339 are thinking like me. And I'm sorry, but this is really screwing me up, because I don't know where to find the ownership. 99% picked. It must be here somewhere. Why do you have to do this, Supercoach? Why do you do it mid-season? Do it start of next season so we have time. All right. Anyway, it's like 49% ownership, I think. Yeah, sorry, here it is, 47%. So that's like half of the competition who have Fyfe now. And the hard thing is we look at the forward line and there's not much there. Now, I've already taken Rankin, which I'm pretty happy with. A lot of people were like hesitant on him, but I think with the way the forward line is, and you're about to see it, like, it's not the worst F6 you can have. Because like if we look at the forward line, so let's put Fyfe up here for a sec. Right, we've got the top two, so Heaney and Flanders. Then it's Mackay, on average Mackay. And this is someone I ranked as what? 8 out of, you know, in my forward line predictions. That says a lot about how well the forward line's going. And Mackay's been quite good. Like, if you look at his scores, I think his like floor is his floor's been like 90. No, it's 75. So he's had 2 bad games. One of them is away, and I guess Crows just got the upper hand on him. I'm not sure, but he's had big scores against Brisbane. GWS not bad, and the Geelong not bad either. Does Carlton's run get any easier? Not really, but Collingwood might put more time into Charlie than they do in Mackay. We don't know. But this does say a lot about the forward line. You got Jackson here who, you know, he's probably going to be in good enough for F6 as well. So if you've got him, I wouldn't be dropping him. Like, yes, it's annoying. Darcy's back now, and you're not getting that majority rep. But what happens if Darcy gets injured now and you trade him out? You're probably going to want Jackson back in, so you might as well keep him because you're not getting punished in the forward line. It's not like last year where you could have had Cornelio or what was Bonta forward last year, I think, at some point, and then like Butters and Taranto and Rosie. Like, these players aren't in the forward line, and that was along with Heaney, among others. So you're not being punished. So just keep Jackson. Don't waste the trade, because if Darcy gets injured, you're going to want him back in. He's also really good right coverage, especially in the buys, because Jackson has a really good buy. So I would be keeping. You already had him for so long, and I think you're just going to have to deal with it as far as scores go. But still, with the, you know, if he's your F6 or F5 and 2 rookies are failing that week, you know, he's probably still going to put up an 80, which is good enough. So think of it that way. Now, Zorko, like 101 average, got put to the forward line last week and has scored 56. So how much do we trust that role? You know, McKenna's come back in now, so they've got a running back. So do they need Zorko back there? Also injury prone. Another hard one to pick up. Waterman. You know, I've actually considered Waterman because he does, like, watching him, he seems to really pass the eye test. Like, he's like turned, he's kind of breaking out is what I should say. Maybe not as like 100 forward, but like doing decently. And if we look at his scores, like realistically, yeah, the Port score 73. Not good, but not horrible. The GWS score 62. Definitely not what you want to see. Then he went the 91 against the Dogs. And they obviously, like, Adelaide Hills is probably a hard place for Waterman because he's more of a like lead up type of player. But then, you know, Richmond, Fremantle and Gold Coast have all been good games. So, and West Coast have seemingly turned a corner. If we look at the run as well, you know, Optus Stadium, Essendon seems like a good matchup for him. Collingwood at Marvel, not the greatest. Melbourne at Optus seems good. The Crows at Adelaide Oval seems good, especially with their young defence. St Kilda, North, Essendon, Hawthorn, they all seem good. Like, I feel like we will consider Waterman maybe at some point just because of how short the back line is, but it doesn't feel good. And then you've got Curnow. So this is like one of those things, like Kernow's been good. What's he been averaging? Is his floor as bad as well? Because Mackay's is 75, and the lowest that Kernow's had is 75 as well. So they both had 270s against different things of Blee. So it is very interesting to see, isn't it? So really, like, either of these Carlton guys could be all right, especially because Carlton seem to be a team that don't look like they're ever going to really get smashed. They might like lose, but they'll still get a fair bit of ball into the forward line. And, you know, Curnow and Mackay probably both work up the field as well. Mackay gets a bit of rock time. So, yeah, not the worst, but like we're going down and you're already in the 90s. You got Shy who went 67. So also one that you really can't trust. Cameron and Hogan, key forwards again. Rankin, and this is where Rankin slides in. And, you know, he's been up and down, but consistently like 80s. I think his lowest is what? Sorry, I keep doing this, but his lowest is a 68. Other than that, been fairly consistent around the 90s, which I'm pretty happy to have. So, and you know, those lower scores came when the Crows were struggling. They seem to be getting it together a bit now. So, pretty pretty happy to have that. And then there's Caldwell. I don't mind Caldwell, but his like CBAs aren't the greatest. It's only like, I think I was looking, it's like 35%, which is still pretty low. So he's obviously doing a lot of work. He is pretty young. He could be breaking out, but I don't know. It's a hard one. But Essendon also have a good run coming up. So you could think about it, especially as a forward. But you're obviously going to maybe, be making your bed with that pick as well. And then Fremantle have a great run, and Fyfe is cheap. So he's 70k cheaper than Caldwell as well, which is another reason why he seems like a pretty good choice. And I know he just looked good last week. Now he's probably going to get rest at some point, which is the annoying part. But just seems to be really good. The only other one here that would be considerable is Dylan Moore. But he's only done it in the last 2 weeks. Now, funnily enough, that's since he came out and said he hasn't been good enough. I keep stuffing this up. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, so he had he had a 104, 44, 59, not great. Then he had a 98 bounce back, then 56. And then these two good games. But the problem with Hawthorn is they do struggle in their forward line. I wonder if he's getting what his CBAs are like. I think they're pretty low. We'll have a look at that. But he's also a consideration. This is where Powell is, who just keeps dropping off. And I'm just not feeling good about it. And feeling like I don't want to lose more money on him, considering I already picked him up at a price that was higher than many others. So after that, though, you're not left with much. And unless we get some DPP, yeah, I think that Fyfe is going to be an all right pick. So let's have a look quickly. Hawthorn. And we have, even here, Dylan Moore. So he's not even getting like over 30% most games. So that's pretty low. So can you trust that? Although he seems to be pushing up the ground again. But let's have a look at where Dylan Moore is getting points. Because really, we do have to consider him. He's had 2 good weeks. And he has gone 90s before. So he's playing more midfield here. So he pushes up the ground a bit, but yeah, a lot of the ball is in here. Now, they didn't have problems with inside 50s last week. They just weren't converting from them. So there was a lot of ball coming down there. Even in this game, still like a lot of forward ball. So he's pushing up a little bit, but not a heap. So yeah, I'm kind of out on him, but like Fyfe seems to be a kind of safe-ish pick just because he's in 48% of teams. So if he goes badly, it's not too bad. But if he goes well, then it really does hurt. Now, after that, it leaves us with 660k. Now, originally, it was Heppel. Not Heppel. Parish. I'll put you back there. Parish at 493k, which would leave us with 166, which is a lot of money for next week. Would probably mean I don't need to use another trade to go up. And it feels like 2 upgrades in a way this week, even if it's kind of 3 downgrades, I guess. I mean, Sweet can probably go the same as me. So that's something I really need to think about. Now, the other thing I could do is I could just screw Parish and I could just go for really any midfielder I want. Which also seems like not the worst place to go. So you got Rao, who's playing really well, but 654, so the very top of the budget. You got Walsh, who's, although played well, has dropped back a little bit. He's also very highly owned, 38%. And I really don't know about his back, so I don't really mind maybe, going against that pick and risking it against him. Then we have Merritt, who's got a really good run, but him and Parish play in the same team. And they're both going to have the same schedule. So why not just maybe have a bet on that? Parish going maybe 110 for 120 over that period as well for a lot lower price. because that's where there seems to be like the value is probably worth it because it helps me to upgrade next week. And, I could probably nearly get Merritt next week with that money because I don't know who would be ready. Hewitt. I could probably just go Hewitt up in one trade nearly. So I wonder what's Hewitt looking like? 111. So hopefully he goes 90s and he stays above 500. But if he doesn't, that's all right. 160 would still get me there. What's the break even looking like? 130. So he's not even a low break even yet, Merritt. So I could risk it and then get Merritt next week, or even get it's like a straight swap from Hewitt to Stewart, which I wouldn't mind because then I could put like Martin down here and just kind of consolidate the defenders for a little bit. Stewart comes up here, and then can kind of move this around as I need. So then we got Butters. So this is where some news today. Rosie is back. He should be playing, in the showdown. I think it's pretty crazy they're going to risk him, even if he did have like a really good recovery from this injury. They did say it was a minor hammy, so why risk it? Like, if he does a proper hammy, then you lose him for what, 7 to 8 weeks or whatever it is, or is it going to be 12 weeks? I don't know. I'm not so sure about the hammies, but anyway, why risk it when you're coming into probably one of the most important parts of the season during the middle of it, and then possibly only have him back after buys? Like, I feel like just rest him for a week. Like, the way Port are playing, they should beat the Crows pretty easily. Now, they haven't previous weeks, and the Crows are running hot after a North Melbourne win, but I don't know. I just feel like you're risking a lot just to get him in for a game that I know is important, but also so is the health of your captain and one of your stars. So, personal thoughts on that. Then we got Took. So, I don't know. I'd just probably rather Rao, but he's 60k more expensive. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Took would be pretty interesting at like 540. Which is, I know where he was prior to this, 545, but I don't know. I feel like I wanted to see it before I went on it. Seeing it, but at 591, that elevated price is probably still one you just kind of let go through the keeper, although they do have a good run coming up. Elliot Yeo fits in that same basket. Love what he's doing, but I don't know if 610k for Elliot Yeo is really worth it. And feel like, as with the money for Merritt and Rao, could be spent better elsewhere. Steele, news come out that Steele did not train today with the main group due to his knee, so that's not good. If you're holding Steele, at least you got money on him and you can get out of him now. So, but the thing is like, Steele could drop 50k and then come good in the back end of the season, which would be pretty funny. Because I think St Kilda have quite a good run for the whole season, like a good schedule of games. So, I don't know. Bit of an interesting one whether you hold or drop. Be hard to watch because he's sorry for clicking out of this. I should have just left it. But his break even's 190 and he's projected 132. So he's going to drop 40 or 50k. So if you're going to do it, you got to do it this round. You can't wait. You got to get rid of him. Otherwise, like next round, what are you going to do? And I think people are going to be training him. Let's have a look. Wow, only 0.9%. That's I guess there are a lot of other issues on people's fields. But I feel like if you're going to lose 60k on him and he's not training, could be a bit worrying. I've actually thought about Cripps. I think that we know what Cripps has been able to do previously, and he hasn't really shown that bad. That's 2033. Sorry, press the wrong button. I feel like the average has been pretty good. The floor's only been at 84. He's gone 100 each other game. I'm twisted each and every other game. So, pretty good. They do have a kind of hard run, so maybe I'll look at it round 13 or after his bye. Probably after his bye, because that back end looks pretty good. Geelong, not the easiest. Richmond, GWS, Western Bulldogs, North, or like it's a pretty good back end. So maybe that's something I'll look out of the buys. Rory Laird, I do like this as a weird one. The only problem is if the Crows start to lose again, he could get moved around. What's he been scoring? What's the floor like? The floor's actually not bad. He's actually gone. Oh, like if you look at these scores, he's actually only scored badly in round 5, round 6. When he was moved out of the middle a little bit, and then he was put back in there for North, and otherwise it's been all 110 plus. I just think maybe it's one I have to actually consider now, because like after Brisbane, Collingwood, West Coast, Hawthorn, Richmond, Sydney is a decent run, and I could always flip him on the buy if it was really bad, and he's cheap. Like 560k isn't bad. I just don't like. I think he's going to score wherever he goes, and if he gets if he goes defense, like if that's what's going to happen, then he's going to get DPP. You would hope. Let's see how his CBA is decreased. So he had 48 and 44. So his CBAs actually weren't that much lower than the other games. Like he only had 57% against North, so it's not like they're high anyway. So where's he getting the ball? Let's have a look. We've got Laird. The bad games were Carlton, Essendon. So let's have a look and see how this is different. And it's all in the middle. It doesn't really change. But look at it. It's everywhere. It's like they kind of... What's this? Round 5, which was... That would be the Carlton game, right? So the Carlton game, he played a bit more back. It's still like relatively midfield. He's not being pushed forward. Like I feel like if he was forward, the scoring would be a lot worse. I don't know. It still seems like the same old type of game from Laird. His TOG is what, 70%. So that's not ideal. This game was without Crouch as well, which is interesting. And he still went 73% TOG and had high CBAs against North. What are the Crows doing then? Are they... They must be sharing the CBAs around with... So Saliga and Laird both going. Even Dawson's were down against North, but that's probably because he didn't play much in the last. He still went like 80s, and then these two he dropped. This is really interesting. And then Rankin drops off against North, but that's because he was just kicking goals pretty easily. Funnily enough, this seems like it's probably more like what they run. Although this is obviously an anomaly, but the reason why I think that is because these are the ones where Carlton, they won, and they were pretty competitive with Essendon. You could say they were competitive with Gold Coast, but that did like drop off at the end. From Gold Coast, that's where it dropped off. So I don't know. I feel like I have to think about Leg because 562k is good. He's got a good run. Like the floor hasn't been horrible. Like 74 was the worst. But he still was playing really well against opposition before that. He's had a big game against North. So, and they got a good run. You know, Porty always scores quite well on. Let's look at the last 3. So he's averaged 115 there. He's averaged probably 125 there. And he's averaged 125 there. So it's like, it just seems like a pretty good pick to have. And last year we would have paid 620 for Laird. I know that like the team's moving in a different direction, but I feel like he's still like an absolute fiend for stat padding a little bit, trying to get as much ball as he can. So Oh, I do like the Laird pick. Because I just feel like even if he moves into the back line, they're never going to play him forward because he can't play it. The place they'll move him is like a wing / back line. Because he played back flank when he, was first started playing. What did he average before he got moved into the midfield? Let's go to like 2019. He was 96, 2018, 108. 2019 was a shit year for the Crows though, 100. I'd say like also he's broken out since these scores. So it's pretty hard to like judge. 2014, 13, 12 were like his first 3 years, were they? What's his age? '30. So he's in the 30s, which I don't love. I still think it's an option. One I have to think on a little bit. What's his ownership like? Probably not much. 4.9%. So not the worst, but not the best either. And then we got like Dunkley. I don't really like any of the Brisbane players, to be honest. Petrarca will drop money. Ellie is going up. Just don't trust the injuries. If he didn't have any injury history, I'd go him. We got like Golden, Brayshaw. Brayshaw just seems to be like the third or second midfielder, but just doesn't score very well for Fremantle for some reason. Kind of rosy surprise, 12% teams. Wonder how many had looked at training him out or if they still are. Nope, it's come back, 1.7%. So very interesting. But yeah, like as you can see, there's not much past that unless you're going to go LDU or go for one of these mid forwards that aren't going well, or go back with Hayden Young, or go Parish. So let's have a look at Parish if we compare. Now Parish is younger, but like this average is pretty bad. 80, 72, 61, 84. This is his first over 100. So it's funny that we're not really thinking about Laird when he's only gone 2 games under like 110. And then I'm thinking about Parish just because it's 60k cheaper. I guess one thing that could maybe hold me on both of them is their break even. So let's consider the break even of Parish. Sorry. Does it show it here? It's probably in the summary. Break even 74. So he's like 99% sure going to break that. And if he goes like 120, it's probably like 30, 40k. Then we look at Laird, and Laird's break even is 99, which isn't really big, but isn't low either. So, interesting decision to be made here. I just don't mind Laird because, like, even when the Crows are winning, he stays on, whereas, like, Dawson, for example, gets taken off. So I'm no real closer, but anyway, let's say we go Parish, all right? So Parish is in the team. Ooh, confirm, please. Thank you. Let's give this an optimize and see how it tries to do it. So McKercher gets pulled out of here just because of averages. We're going to put McKercher there. Graham can come off. And then, so this would be kind of how we run, except Reed would probably play on field over Wilson. So that leaves us with 166k and some good players on field. That leaves McKercher and Brown to loop. It leaves us with Roberts and Closey, which most people are probably playing, and then Darcy and Reed, which most people will probably be looking at playing as well. And then Sweet. Now, there's another option I have, but I don't know if it works with, and this is where the plan probably changes if I do. So if I go Meek in, and then I do admin instead, and then this goes here, Sweet goes back in, Meek. So I can do this, which I really don't mind now. So obviously we only have 1,500, but the beauty of this is Sweet plays on Thursday night. So Cadman is pretty much at the end of the money making he's going to do, unless he goes like 100 or so this week, which seems like it's be hard against Sydney. So what we can do is we can watch Sweet. If Sweet goes well, take his score and trade Meek. If he doesn't go well, we can keep Meek and we can trade Cadman instead. And then this works. So this would probably be the plan if that happens, because I get Fyfe, I get Parish, and then we keep Meek. We make money off Meek. We make money off Sweet. If Sweet gets dropped, it's not that big an issue going forward after this. If he plays well, we can look at trading Meek at a later date and then pushing Livingston up there. And then when we're ready, we can also upgrade Sweet to English, which gives us a little bit more time, which is good because Hawthorn play late. But he will be against English, but English also isn't the best tap ruckman. So hopefully that would be good for Meek's scoring. So this is the plan. Probably the main plan now. Plan number one, allowing Sweet to be looped with Meek. Now, if I don't go Fyfe, I could upgrade Parish to like a Laird, and that would obviously cost me 60k and probably cost me points on field. However, it does work if I trade Meek, so I can always still get Laird and go Meek instead. So I think that I'm potentially getting rid of Meek if Sweet goes well, and then going Laird over Parish. Just because I feel like I trust Laird a little bit more than Parish at this point. And the 60k is probably worth it for that safety of a guy who doesn't necessarily get injured that much, and touch wood, doesn't get injured that much, and has also been scoring like quite well. And I think a little bit overlooked just because of those the 80 and the 70. So, if Laird's the guy I have in, and he's a bit of a point of difference, not the worst. I'm already running Hewitt in there, who's a huge point of difference. At some point, he'll go out. He'll become like Merritt probably the week after, pretty easily as well, because like Brown will probably be near the end of his tether, the way he's scoring. And I can easily, look at moving into a more expensive midfielder once that happens. Obviously, I'm having to leave Wangani Malira how he is, and McGovern, but there's bigger issues than those guys, and I guess I'm just going to lose some points there each week. But Essendon's not the worst matchup for McGovern, so hopefully goes well there. But yeah, I don't really have too much more thoughts, really. If we have a look at some cash cows, so it's Sweet, Naismith if he plays, Dale. I really don't want to pick any Dogs players who aren't Libba or Bont, or English for that matter, because I think English is clearly R2 now. Outside of that, I don't love picking Dale. Like a couple of rounds ago, he wasn't even being selected, / he was sub, and now all of a sudden he's got a really good roll off the back line. And who knows what he does once Libba comes back in. Does that mean Richards gets pushed back and he loses kickouts? Like, I think these are things we need to factor in with going with Dale, although the money would be nice. Garcia, probably same reason. He wasn't, I think there was murmurs he wasn't even going to play until Libba was pulled out or he was going to be sub. So, it's like not like Garcia has the safest job security either. And then going down from there, Rogers would be nice. Dawson's actually in the higher break cash cows this week, which is nice to see. Fyfe also, and this Richmond matchup, he's probably going to go big, so I'd rather just have him. I think I'm just going to force Fyfe in. But I'm thinking I prefer Laird over Parish at this point, even though Parish is like 26, isn't he? This should be prime Parish. 26, yeah, it should be prime Parish. Really. I think these injuries have been holding him back. I actually really don't mind the McGrath pick, actually, because he gets a lot of kickouts, and even his scores haven't been too bad considering his price. Like his low 70, but then other than that, he hasn't really been under 90. Sorry, like you'd be pretty happy with that as a defender, especially for 517k, and one with a good run of what they've got coming up. So I don't know. If I could go another defender, Andrew McGrath would be actually quite interesting. But looking at this, there's nothing really, going up super high that we really need to get on top of. Like Meek's there, obviously, which is one reason we want to try and keep him. But as I said, if things go the way they do and we have to trade Meek, then so be it, and we'll upgrade to Laird from Parish. Even Cripps is going up some cash now. Rookies we're going to have to miss, especially McAuliffe if he comes back in. It was a bit annoying, but realistically, we want to be upgrading now and taking rookies on where we can. So if Fyfe's now a keeper, let's have a look at what we're playing with. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 primos, 16, and who was the other one that I didn't count? Well, 16, including Hewitt, but he's probably going to be traded on. And we've got 22 trades. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions, and the forward line is not going to be expensive to fill by the way that scores are looking. I think the biggest cash upgrade really is going to be for this right position, because Stewart is going to be probably, if he doesn't bottom out this week, he'll bottom out by the end of next week. And they have Melbourne this week, so expect a bit of ball to be back there. And I feel like Stewart will be good to clean this up with, and whoever I decide to keep there, we will figure it out. But that could easily be Hewitt to him. It's pretty much a sideways trade if I can't get Hewitt up to who I want in the midfield. And I'll be perfectly happy to field probably Roberts, Closey, and Graham in here. Even Wilson could be some loop opportunities here. At some point, obviously, Meek will go and Sweet will go, and we'll get Livingston in there. And, Reed and Darcy are both scoring quite well, like 80 and 90 average. As we've shown, there's not much better in there, so we might as well keep it that. So, and if Reed does get rested again, we've got looping options, which is good as well. So, with that, this has been a long video, but that's my thoughts. I'm really liking the idea of Laird, but I'm thinking that if you've got a lot of cash, not as many issues as I do, then have a look at someone like Merritt or Sarong or Butters. Those guys that have got really good history with the average. For me, I'm trying to keep the money down so that I can get rookies off the field and get better than rookie scores on the field. Whether Parish can deliver that is yet to be seen, and I'm pretty worried about it, to be honest. But yeah, what I also have to think about is how does this, I guess, work next week? So what I could do next week is go Meek down to a rookie, whoever's on the bubble. If he's 475, that's pretty much what, 350, 60k that'll be out of bank. And then I can go Hewitt up to probably whoever, which would probably be the next move. And then I probably won't use a boost next week, but I'll try and keep an upgrade cycle going, even if it's maybe going early on someone just to get them up and then get an extra primo in field. Because even with like 370k, if I put that on top of someone, surely there'll be someone else who's starting to peak. Let's go list. Projections. Nope. Guess it's cash cows, isn't it? So who's predicted to start? So yeah, Brown's going to be there. So we could put Brown up to Stewart with that 350. Then we got what? It's all primos. So maybe it's Brown. Lazara actually as well. So maybe we look at a Ford. Who here is not making that much money? Darcy's still making quite a bit. Meek, McKercher, Roberts, Closey, and Reed are still making big money. So, and Graham actually, all of these guys really. So it's going to be annoying if Garcia's dropped. What I would say is maybe just leave. I don't know. People want to bring McKercher back in, but I just don't think it's a good idea because, one, if he gets injured, then you've wasted 2 trades, one trading him out, then one trading him back in, and then you're going to waste another trade trading him back out, and you might not even make money. I don't know. I feel like if you traded him out, you just have to stick with that now and hope that the rookies you have are going to be able to score well. Because that's just how it feels like it's going to be. Otherwise, you're just chasing your tail the whole time. So 22 trades left, 6 upgrades. So that's probably about 12 trades, maybe even less because we got guys like Hewitt. So that could be what? 10 trades left over with injuries. So that wouldn't be the worst position. And we can look at maybe even upgrading some guys, some other rookies to get some guys to loot with on the bench if there is an injury. So that's all that there is for me tonight. I didn't really go into VC captains. I don't know. I'm liking the idea of maybe VCing a Dawson. Thing is, I've got to make a decision on Laird tomorrow. That's something I didn't even think about. So you've gone through the whole video and you've got to here. I've just realized I have to go on Laird now. And I have to make the decision on meat now. Bugger. All right, well. Oh, God. I guess we're going to stick with Parish and see what happens. Do a bit more research into Laird and what the Crows have been saying. But I'm thinking that, anyway, back on VC and captains, I think Dawson could be good as a VC, a bit of a cheeky one, get it out the way early, and then you've got like a lot of teams to go into. Otherwise, Sheasel into like Gorn, good. Sheasel into Sarong, good. I can't really go anyone. I can't VC Gorn into anyone because he plays at the same time as West Coast. So that makes that a bit hard. But yeah, I like that. If you can VC Gorn and then roll into Sarong or someone like that, if you could VC Merritt, that's probably also a good opportunity. Especially if you've got Sexton and he doesn't play. I hope he comes back so people can't loop it. Because I feel like Gorn VC is going to be a very good option to have. But yeah, I'll probably look at like Sheasel into Gorn. I think looking at this now, especially with them having the St. Kilda matchup. So if you've gotten through to the end of the video, you have seen that my plan is disaster because Laird plays at the same time as Sweet, which I should know as a Crow supporter. And I'm looking at a Parish Fyfe trade in with who was the rookie? Sweet in with Cadman, Williams, and Powell out because I've yet to read anything about power changing. So thanks for watching. As I say at the end of every video, if you'd like to give a subscribe, it'd be really, really appreciated. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.